Hey guys, Freak here. Welcome back to part two of our achievement run to complete some of the achievements in the game that I've not yet completed. Primarily, this one will be focusing on working towards super sustainability, and to do that, we'll be producing a self-powered oxygen machine in this section here. Um, More than likely, because this is close to our cold biome, so we'll be able to send in our oxygen in here, and that will help create oxygen for the base. Um, from this point, we've started adding in a few commands to create water reservoir consolidation. So we're going to take this water and this water here, move it into this section here, heading towards this gold amalgam up here that we'll then use for our spawn that will be handy because the temperature in there gets really hot, and we will consolidate our polluted water by sending it down into the section here. We did add one new duplicate into the party, into the group. That is Toothpastry. He's a little bit unusual, actually. He is nyctophobic, but he's also a glow stick. So we gave him his own room just to see how that would work, whether or not he would be producing his own light while he sleeps. And, funnily enough, he does. So we don't actually need to create a lighted bedroom for him because he creates his own light. That is awesome. This is really cool. Um, from this point on, I think we'll be sort of fast forwarding through little sections just to try and speed up the production. What's going on here? Speed up production a little bit to make the videos sort of shorter and concise, so to make it easier for you guys in little bite-sized pieces. From my understanding of the game, we're going to use this section here and then sort of start digging out, looking for geysers that we'll be then using to help our long-term sustainability of our base. Whether or not this reaches the long-term sustainability, I think will be depending on what sort of achievements that we sort of focus on this run. There are a few where I have to go and tame a gassy moo. I think that one may be sort of towards the end of this sort of run, which would be kind of handy to get rid of, because the gassy moo is on its own little planetoid off in the middle of nowhere. Um, Fingers crossed. Yep, sweet. We've got rid of the critter in here, so there's no more light in here. That seemed to be keeping everybody awake. This is kind of interesting, actually. It creates his own radiation source. I wonder if you could get enough duplicates doing that if they could power some sort of radiation producer. That would be kind of funny. But I don't really want to lock them away. I just want to get rid of the sand here. Can we dig this up? I'm not sure whether or not that's going to dig up the... Yep, it will. Okay, cool. So, from here on in, we need to, I think, primarily focus on cleaning up this little polluted water pocket, adding it down here with this polluted water pocket, and then I think we'll go from here over to here. Yeah, sweet. Hopefully not too hot. Cool. No research focus selected. We are going to go in for smart batteries because we'll be needing that. We've got a sage hatchling egg, which we don't really want, but that's okay. Copy the settings of here. Oh, actually, I'll reduce that to 20%. So you could copy the settings of that. Interesting. So this is primarily where we want most of our shine bugs at the beginning, just to help improve production. Although it does create a little bit of radiation, that's fine. We're also going to produce a little bit more copper ore, which will be handy for later on. And I think once all these sort of little side projects are done, we'll be right back. So research on our batteries done. We're going to work towards automation because Ginger Megs already has our automation all set up. That will help with our ranches. We'll be able to pick everything out of here and then send that off to evolution chamber, which is down here. We'll be using this to drown our hatches to begin with, and then we will also send off some other eggs to be produced so that we can have a few growing to replace what dies naturally. Oh, Doggo's got a skill point. We've got a few more skills to be set up, so we'll do that. Alright, everybody seems to be good. Strunnel's in our cooking. Chibi went for super hard digging. Denny's got improved construction. Frey's gone straight into the sciences. Meg's going for improved construction and mechatronics engineering. Arcanist will be heading in towards ranching, and then she'll probably get exosuit training for speeds later on. The Moklo's gone for improved carrying and tidying. He'll probably go into pyrotechnics later, which is new, which is kind of cool. Lanier's gone for digging, and Pastry's gone for building, and Mr. Doge, Mr. Doggo himself, is our #1 rancher. Has a mad collection of animals in real life. I think that's kind of funny that we've sort of set him aside for that. Now, the primary goal, as I said, for this video will be to create some sort of oxygen production. Fingers crossed we find some sort of geysers around nearby that will help us with some water. Generally, you can find them using the temperature overlay, but we haven't really seemed to have much luck using that. But fingers crossed. I think we'll be right back when we print a new dupe. A new duplicate has arrived. Out of these guys, oh, interesting. Another cook. Or a doctor with farming is actually really good because while there's no doctoring going on, farming is really handy. Creativity, I don't think we really need to focus so much on at the moment. So I'm going to welcome the 1v2. Huge supporter of the channel. If you do want to get named as a duplicant, guys, feel free to come and follow me on Twitch. Otherwise, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe, so it makes things a lot more enjoyable for me, as I'm relatively new at YouTube. Although I have made videos in the past, that was when I was a little bit younger, and now I'm sort of taking things a little bit more relaxed, I think. Everybody seems to be working really hard, which is kind of handy. These thimble reeds, once we get more people, more duplicates, these will be growing. Well, this will be growing a lot more frequently, and this tank fills up. It means this is the water forever. Because yes, they do add water to when they go to the bathroom. All right, fantastic. We're starting to fill up our evolution chamber, which is good. Still got copper on the production. We might start trying to clean up and focus on tidying up our base a little bit. There's the morale bonus from the decor being somewhere here, is generally quite terrible at the start because they just drop everything everywhere. One thing that I used to do was build a whole bunch of these little storage bins, but if you put an automatic dispenser, you can get everything sort of dropped into one little section, and then the dupes can still reach that, which makes things kind of handy if you ask me. So what we might do is we'll do we'll do that here. Remove this little section here, and then we can have Our dispensers going into here. Now, the power seems to be hitting the 1000 watt mark, which we don't really want. So we might remove the wire from there. We don't really want this being powered. We are going to have to split up our power lines very soon, I'd say. That's why one of the reasons why I split my power to begin with. I run it down both sides. It seems a little bit counterintuitive, but once you have your base, you sort of set it up. You have either side powered by something. You makes it easier just to cut these wires, and then one side has power for the other. In late game, I generally tend to run power lines horizontally rather than vertically, but that's still a fair while to go from here. This is freaking me out, actually. I want to sort of set this sooner rather than later. For research at the moment, doesn't really seem to be anything standing out to me that we will need electrolyzers. Actually, let's go in towards that. And then priority 6 all of this. I'll get this cranking so people will start getting in towards this area here. We have quite a bit of food. Our meal ice is rather low, but our muckroot, this is long-term food, will last for forever. But until we get some sort of renewable water resource, we can't really change this mealwood into anything else just yet. Still no research focus. Okay, cool. Next is we might go in for some sort of portraits. These landscape ones I always prefer over the vertical ones because they're easy to fit into the planting section. Because the plants are too high and then the other paintings are too high. Or 2 units high. Okay. We don't have any lime, that's fine. Valley construction, that's also good. That'll be resolved shortly. Slime is new. Now slime we're going to move into our section here so that it prevents off-gassing. The water is slowly being moved into this tank here, which is good. These here we're going to set to sweep only. We're going to chuck it on all, remove critter eggs, remove rot pile, polluted dirt and slime, and I'm sure there's something else that I don't want in there. Nope, that all looks pretty good for the time being. Yeah, seeds can go in there. We'll copy the settings into there. And then we'll make a large sweep all command. That should clear away most of the stuff into the base. While we're here too, I noticed a few more critters that we can add to our branches. We do have a sage hatchling egg. I'm pretty sure we're just going to crack that. We're not going to bother growing it. Because we want our hatches to turn into stone hatches. Stone hatches eat igneous rock, which generally there's plenty of on this first asteroid. Fingers crossed. Minerals, I believe. Yeah. Sedimentary rock, I think the normal hatches eat to make the... Nope, Maffic. I don't really see any. Oh dear. Just my luck. Well, that's something we don't really have to worry about just for now. Our oxygen over here, gas. So the polluted oxygen seems to be wanting to make it into our base. While we wait on this, we might consider putting in another little bit of power just quickly. Oh, we've got Paco fillets. Paco fillets we can then... No, we need to pick it up first. Alright, let's go down in here. Alright, gold amalgam. Nice. That will be used for our spawn. Oh, look at it. A cool slush geyser and a cool salt slush geyser. Well, fantastic. Right now where we're going to build our oxygen production. The salt slush geyser, we have two options. Because it comes out at minus 10 degrees, like we could convert it into a gas, like boil it and turn it into a gas and then remove the water that way, but that generally creates a lot of heat. The other option is we can use the refinement tool somewhere, refinement, and then we can run it through. No, maybe it's plumbing. Did I not research that? I thought I researched that. Nope. Okay, there it is, desalinator. We're going to get the desalinator, so we'll be pumping a whole bunch of salt slush brine through there, and that will remove the salt from that. So this creates polluted water. So that means that we're going to have to send that through a water sieve. So we'll have a water sieve and a salt desalinator as two primary ingredients in heading into our oxygen production. All right. So once all this, I think, is done, we'll send all of our water through and then drop it into this section in here. And we'll be right back once I've sort of set that all up. All right. Our 12th duplicate. We are going to... I think... maybe give it a pipsqueak. I might get the pipsqueak because the way that I've been sort of setting up my base, I've seen this before in a few others, is they have little tiles here where they start planting seeds and they make this into a what is it? A oh yeah, into a park, into a nature reserve. So it gives an insane amount of morale bonus, which would be really handy. And then we could sort of section that up and then have two parks before everybody sort of goes off and does their jobs for the day. So this may be a good reason to get a pipsqueak. So at the time being, the pip will just sort of cruise around in here until we're sort of ready and we have enough plants to plant into this little section here. We may even just put in some mealwood plants or something for the time being, but I think the loss of like a little bit of copper ore is a-okay. As long as there's no industrial buildings, I think that's the way it works. No industrial buildings. Yeah, no machinery. Cool. So that'll be what our pip's for. Our research will then go back and complete what we were starting down here into our landscape canvas. Alright, our water seems to be almost ready for consolidation, which is good. We can then probably sweep all the stuff up in here as well. Somebody's going to be hard working sooner or later. I believe there should be... Oh, what were you? Agriculture, sure. Alright, I'll sort of set that aside and we'll be right back. Right, we've cracked the seal. All of our polluted water is now dropping into here. We don't have power to this just yet, but it will be coming along shortly. And then we might want to put a little bit more up here. So we'll grab another deodorizer, put that there, and another one and put it there. Alright, once all that's done, we'll get a bottle emptier and then we'll drop all of it. Oh, no, we actually do have somewhere for our polluted water to go, don't we? Polluted water goes down there. Do we want to mop? Oh, kelp fry egg. Nice. Well, did all of our fish drop into there? All of our fish did drop in here. Alright, that's cool. This will be our area for the fish so far. And then we're going to start cruising up into this section here and digging out these geysers because they'll be important. And for the time being, we will just mop everything up here. Alright, while waiting for all that to come about, we've got a new duplicate available. It was a hard choice between Mima and Definite Maddie, but I think Definite Maddie made the cut. He was a little bit decreased strength and increased bladder, but the excavation and husbandry, so we will need more of these duplicates to tend to all of our critters that we'll have sooner rather than later. The Gene was pretty good too, but allergic to floral scent. I think I'm still sort of tending towards the critter here, the critter ranching. So welcome, Maddie. You can join the party. We'll set everybody else's schedule and priority out in a second. Now we've managed to dig out and get rid of most of the polluted water. Now we'll sort of set up building our layout for how we want our spawn once we've sort of gotten rid of all of this polluted oxygen. Alright, so we've cleared all this out of all of our polluted oxygen, mostly. There's still a little bit floating around, but that's okay for the time being. What we'll do now is we'll set up our gas pumps and our electrolyzers, and we'll be right back. So this is the basics for my oxygen production. We have 4 electrolyzers, which then take in water and turn it into hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen floats up above, gets sorted by this gas pump and sent into these hydrogen generators. The oxygen floats down below and then gets pumped out through these gas pumps and then sent throughout the base. We will, if we're going to be using cold water, we will have to find some way to use this to cool down this section here before we then transfer and plug it into my electrolyzers. But with any luck, the heating process of this will cool down the water enough so that it then can be used safely without freezing the pipes. So once this is all sort of set up and built, we'll be good to go. Then we'll be using these 3 hydrogen generators to power everything within this section, and then these 2 hydrogen generators will be using any off production, and then we'll be sending the excess, using that to send the power out throughout the base. So this will be primarily our main goal of attaining super sustainability. And everything sort of fits neatly into this little block. And it looks rather nice and neat and all set up. We're using heavy wet wire primarily just to run through here because I find it a little bit easier and quicker to set up. Oops. Have things all set up like that, and then this to here. And then these will be sending power into that as well, won't it? Okay, so we're going to have to delete this, put up a heavy wet wire there, and then grab wire through to here. This then will use automation to run from here into all of these. I don't think I've done this correctly, have I? I need to make some space for... Yeah, I need to make some space for some automation down in the bottom here for Atmo sensors. Alright, BRB. Alright, that's a little bit better. Now we've got some Atmo sensors set up in here. Our hydrogen will go flow over into the top here. Oxygen will pull down here. These four hydrogen generators will power everything in here, and then anything excess will be powered and sent off into the power grid to be used for our achievement. So everybody's working hard to finish all this off, which is the way that I like this is it sort of fits everything nicely into 4 floors, well 4 floors of this, but 3 natural floors. And then later on you can add in more hydrogen generation up here when you start using and producing more as availability dictates. For our plumbing section, we're going to have to research not insulated. We're going to have to research the conductive pipes, and that will allow us to use the cool water from here to cool everything down in this section here, and then that will heat up, and then we'll be able to send it into the refinement centers that we need. Well, that will probably be over here. Fantastic. Alright, knowing that our oxygen and hydrogen are going to be relatively cool, we're going to use a radiant gas pipe to cool down everything in this section here, which will reduce the amount of heat that this produces, and then after a while we will close these insulated tiles off because this will be a fully self-sustainable machine. The main difficulty at the start though is that this will produce this will pump out oxygen instead of the hydrogen. So to begin with, what we may do is we will send this up via here, across to here, and then we will use, oops, get rid of that, and then we will use a gas reservoir here to collect all of that excess rubbish. Because we'll, in this section here, we've got a fair bit of polluted oxygen, CO2, and oxygen. So this will be sort of pumped throughout the base primarily, and then the hydrogen will be pumped up into here once it's ready. So for that, we're going to need some tiling, and that's good to go. So ventilation wise, we will use this, sort of snake it through. Snake it up this way. Use it to cool down that, and then that there. That looks pretty good to me. So this will then connect through here once this is pumping pure hydrogen. Need more research focus. We've got our radiant liquid pipes, which are good. Anything else that primarily we need? We might want to. Yeah, we'll just start researching a few projects that'll be used for later on in the game. So plumbing wise, we want radiant pipes. We've got a fair bit of copper all set up. Radiant pipes will be sent through here, along to here, then up through here, over through here. We'll cool everything down in here. Oops, this will need to go like this. Alright, we'll wiggle that through. It looks like we need more refined metal, so while we're here, we'll set up more copper ore, set up another 40 pieces of that. And we have a new duplicate available. We could get some hatchling eggs. Oh, a farmer. Decreased machinery. Alright, welcome Aussie to the group. Aussie's got a new skill point. We'll chuck her into farming, and then Maddie is. But for the time being, we'll go digging for Maddie. Frey is going to go in more research. Meg's more for construction. Lanier, more digging. We've got a fair bit of excess morale, so we may as well start using it. Plumbing, the 1v2 is going for crop tending, I think. Crop tending and pastry, improved construction. Doggo is probably going to go for either improved carrying into exosuit training. So yeah, we'll go improved training. And we'll give Maddie and Horsey the hats. So everybody looks cool. Alright. Insufficient oxygen generation. We know that we're on towards production of our oxygen, so fingers crossed everything comes along a-okay. So once this is all set up, we'll sort of close this off, and then we'll have some doors into here because sometimes there's a few little issues, but apart from that, you need to repair some of these things. Fingers crossed, a-okay. I think we can seal up this back end. And we set up this all for construction level 6. The gas reservoir pops in here. Ventilation, we'll send that into there. And this is starting to look nice and neat. Alright, we've got a new duplicate. We're going to add Cloak to the party. He'll be primarily operating all of our machines for the foreseeable future. Good on you, mate. Welcome to the party. We're just waiting on a few little bits of copper to be produced to finalize our spawn, and then we'll head up into the cool biome, or the ice biome, to start digging out and heading towards transporting these liquids so we can produce oxygen, which will be required because yes, we're starting to fall behind on oxygen. Apart from down below, there seems to be a bit of a shortage in most of the top area of the base, but that's almost ready to be solved. Well, that took a little bit longer than expected. We've finished our build. we opted to do something a little bit unusual that I've not done before, which is sort of sealing off the geysers at the point rather than uh, creating a large sort of uh, reservoir in this section where I normally would build like large reservoirs around these geysers. What I've done is I've opted to use infinite storage. So in place of that, I figured this would be using a little bit more energy, so it'll allow us to get to our super sustainability goal a little bit faster, and would be allowed to cut down on a lot of wasted space. I feel so. In order to do this, what we've done is we dug up through the cold biome, closed off these geysers with insulated tiles, put in hydro sensors so that they pump and don't burn off too much power by doing absolutely nothing. So in hindsight, I think I would have maybe built little reservoirs first because this took a little bit longer than I anticipated. The primary goal here was to sort of settle everything into tanks of their own. So we're going to have a polluted water tank, we're going to have a brine tank, and then we're going to have a water tank. This will allow me to collect a bonus, like a ton of extra of these geyser output at the start, where normally I would just fill up a tank and like a couple of tanks, and then I'd be good for a few hundred cycles. This will hopefully sort of alleviate any problems we have if we don't run into any other liquid geysers for a fair while. There's a few more geysers nearby. There's one here, one here. So our exploration went pretty well, which is kind of good. There is a cool steam vent over here, and I believe there's a natural gas geyser over here. What we're doing now is we're just sort of clearing out, getting a little bit of sedimentary rock for our hatches. I think the next episode will be focusing on setting up our hatch farms, automating all of this, and then what have we got here? I think I'm just going to go for the copper ore. I don't really need this at the moment, although it does look pretty good, but we'll take this copper ore for the time being. To set up to set up the infinite storage, what I did was I made sure there was only one gas inside this, built a little setup of airlocks, and then surrounded it with insulated tiles. You don't need to do the manual airlocks. I just find it easier to maneuver around this, so I can just build this as a single block, and it'll actually almost build the whole thing apart from one or two tiles. I sort of wandered away and let this run in the background for a little while. So primarily, what this now does is, if you look at the material or the gas overlay, there's one gas in here and one liquid. When the liquid comes out of the liquid vent, it will drop in and displace the gas, which the gas will then pop up into this section here. So because there's a gas here, it allows the liquid to then fall into this section, and as you can see, there is a variety of 1,000 to 2,000 kilograms of water in this actual reservoir at the moment. I did have one or two problems I had to sort of solve and clean up a little bit. There's a lot of, unfortunately, melting liquid that sort of overflowed and came down into my base, which was rather annoying. But in the meantime, we managed to get our nature reserve up and running. With our little pip, we've got some tiles here with a few little plants. What we'll be doing is moving the pip down into the second area. Oh, geez, Louise, what happened down here? Okay. All right. Ooh, wowee. Okay, we'll have to fix that too. And then probably put 1, 2, 3, and then I think there's 4. You require 4 nature reserves in one map, so that's another achievement that we'll be able to get out of the way really easily. Um, in we've completed all of our basic tier 2 research. We'll then have to focus on tier 3, which was the spaced out DLC stuff, getting a Weezewort seed, which is somewhere about here. Yep, cool. Getting a Weezewort seed and then generating a little bit of radiation from that, starting to power our research. So, uh, thanks very much for hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed. I must admit I didn't expect to have to skip so much into the game, but I figured that while there was very little sort of happening towards my primary goal, I figured we'd just sort of skip ahead and see how everything goes. As you can see, the gas here is looking really good. This is like a whole bunch of hydrogen, which powers my hydrogen generators. The hydrogen generators will get into the smart battery, and then that powers this whole setup here. Any excess will then pump into the hydrogen generator that then will power up most of the pumps into this area. We have sort of pre-planned ahead. We've put conductive wire into these areas here. So when we do swap everything over for conductive wire and have a large power spine, that will make things a lot simpler rather than having to break into this and fix it up later. But as it is, we're still having a few little power spikes that are getting close to 1,000 watts, sometimes a little bit over. But for the time being, I'm rather happy with how things have gone. We'll, I think the next episode, as I said, we'll probably focus on automating the ranches and setting up a area where the eggs will go into, because we are starting to get a few stone hatches, which is really good. Stone hatches, I feel, are superior to the normal hatch, even though the hatch can eat a lot of random different stuff. The hatch themselves, they're a little bit cramped, so there's like eggs and stuff in here, so we'll have to take those out. But there's a ton of igneous rock, and then late game you can get igneous rock from volcanoes if I happen to find one sooner or later. Seems there might be one down here, but I think I'm gonna have to cap off some of these things and then let's go for a little bit more exploration, see what's up here and in here. But thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you do have any comments, just let me know in the section down below. But I'll see you again next time.